guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a reading update for you. I've actually finished 2 books. I'm back to reading again, finally. So the first one I have to talk about is The Daughter of Time by Josephine Tey. This is a book I believe I read quite some time ago, but a lot of the details sort of just escape my memory of it. It's the story of an Inspector, Alan Grant, and he is a Scotland Yard detective who is laid up in the hospital with a broken leg and bored out of his mind. So his friends bring him books to read and portraits and landscapes and pictures to look at. He's very fascinated with faces, though. Being a detective, he studies people and he feels like he can look at somebody and kind of determine, based on their features, whether they belong on the bench, the side of the law, or in the dock with the criminals. And he picks up this one portrait someone brings him, and he studies his face, and he really believes that this person belongs on the bench. Until he flips it over and sees the name on the back is Richard III, and he's wondering, how could he have gotten this so wrong? This is the man who murdered his way to the throne. He killed the princess in the tower. And the more he looks at the face, the more confused he gets, and he starts to wonder. So then he begins this sort of detective search through history from his hospital bed with the help of the British Museum, an American scholar who comes to help him out, and some of his friends who bring him books and contemporary accounts from that time. From Thomas More, we have Shakespeare's, play. That's probably how we most know Richard III. But he starts to delve into history and finding some kind of things a little wrong with the facts. And it starts to make you think a little bit, but overall it didn't really change my mind. I still think he is the villain that he was portrayed in Shakespeare's play. But you really have to be kind of into that historical time period. There are a lot of facts kind of thrown at you within the pages of this book, and it did drag a bit. It could be just the mood I was in, just getting back into reading, having a little trouble sometimes concentrating and stuff on it. But yeah, you really have to be really into kind of, I think, history and that time period, and the whole mystery surrounding the princes in the tower and what happened to them and if he was responsible, to really get something out of the book. Overall, I enjoyed it, but like I said, it did drag a little bit for me. But yeah, at least I finished my first book for March Mystery Madness, coming in at the very end of March here. The other one I finished was a manga. I actually just picked this up at Half Price Books. This is Ikigami: The Ultimate Limit, and it is by Motoro Masi. It's one of these oversized manga. I've been wanting to read the series for quite some time, but it's an older one, so it isn't really in bookstores too much. You'd have to order it, but I didn't really want to order it, so I kind of had a chance to flip through it a little bit. And finally they got volume 1 in, and it's a pretty interesting series. From what I gather from the first volume here, it's almost like a dystopian type society where the government's unhappy that people are say, not productive. They're not productive citizens. They seem to be lazy, wasting their life. So they've enacted what they call the National Welfare Act, and it's sort of an immunization thing. As children go into school, like in kindergarten, whatever, they're all immunized, and I think it's like 1 in 1,000 children or something will have a capsule within their shot, and that capsule will lodge in their heart. And on a predetermined day in their life, sometime between the ages of 18 and 24, that will rupture and kill them like a heart attack. This is to, I guess, instill in people that life is short, you never know how long you're going to live, make the most of it. And this is the way the government pushes people to make the most of their lives and be productive members of society. It's really quite messed up. So it's completely, how do you say it? Sort of like Russian roulette. You don't know who is going to get the shot, and people administering the shot don't know if that shot has a capsule in it or not. So there's no way to know ahead of time. Somehow it's in the records, and it'll eventually trickle down to the people that need to deliver the message, or what they call the death paper, or the Ikigami. And they will get a notification, and they have to deliver this within 24 hours to the person who is going to die. And that way, when this person's notified, they have just 24 hours to kind of wrap up their life, say goodbye to their family, whatever. But also, it limits the time for them to do anything perhaps illegal that they might have done thinking, well, I'm going to die anyway, what do I care? So there was at least two situations, two different people within this particular volume where we follow what happens to them after they get their Ikigami. And this fella here, I want to say his name was Fujimoto, I believe. He is one of these messengers, and he's just starting to work in this field of delivering these messages. There are some explicit content within this, so it is definitely for mature readers. But I am kind of curious to see where the series is going to go. I guess each volume will kind of be like individual stories or a couple stories of various people and, you know, how they wrap up their lives or how it affects them. And I'm wondering overall how it's going to affect him for having to deliver this bad news. But that's the second book I read this month. While I was picking this one up at half price, I actually also, a little book haul in the middle of this reading update, I also picked up a copy of Edgar Allan Poe. This is The Strange Man Standing Deep in the Shadows by Charlotte Montague. I actually seen this book before at Barnes & Noble. It's one of the bargain books, but they had it over there at half price and really good deal, so I picked one up. And it's a little family tree there and just all sorts of facts, photos, quotes and things from Poe. And I always loved Edgar Allan Poe, his writings, and some covers and things, dust jackets from his earlier works. So all sorts of facts. I thought it'd be a kind of a nice, interesting book. Maybe I'll read that or delve into it in Nonfiction November. The funny thing is, if I look at this, it almost looks like my very first boss at Barnes & Noble. Like that. It always creeps me out. Anyway, so moving on with March Mystery Madness, and what I'm currently reading, I have picked up The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. This is #1 Hercule Poirot story. I am currently about on page 108, so I'm really getting into that. This is a super old copy of it, 1920. I got it at one of those little free libraries. But I think this was published, it was 1920, but I think it was published during like the 40s, because it says it's printed on wartime paper, so probably not worth that much. Hopefully not, because I did just kind of redo the cover. But I'm enjoying that one a lot. I always like Poirot stories. A bit more than the Miss Marple ones, but yeah, that's just me. And then my audiobook, I'm just about to start one too. This is Death by Chocolate Cherry Cheesecake, Sarah Graves. And I really don't know much about this yet. I had downloaded this quite some time ago, but it's the first in a series. One of those foodie mysteries, cozy mysteries, and I always love cozy mysteries. They're probably my favorites. So yeah, that's my reading update, and I will see you guys in my next video.